cool, man.
Mike, do you think Spence will be surprised by the power you carry at welterweight?
I mean, I don't know if he'll be surprised, because I mean, he's the bigger guy, so I'm sure he's sparring and fought some big dudes as well. I don't know about that, but I think he will be surprised at the fact that I'm not a big guy naturally, but still carry a lot of power. A lot of people underestimate the power when they face me. They don't think it's much. They don't see my physical size, you know, as a threat, but they feel the power once they're in the ring, and they definitely change their mind.
What was it about Spence that made you say, I want to fight this guy? I can take this guy.
He's the best. You know, he's the best guy right now. And he's referred to as the best in the division. And you know, if I want to make a statement, if I want to make a mark, then I gotta beat the best, and that's why I decided to go after him.
Sounds good. I like
Mikey, we're talking to Robert, and I've actually had this experience myself. But when the fight first was announced, you know, you were clearly the underdog, and people, you know, kind of answered questions kind of in that light. But more recently, I've gotten a lot more, you know, like just yesterday, Sugar Ray Leonard, we asked him, and he said he picked you, and we said why? He said because he's Mikey. I mean, are you getting a lot more support the closer to the fight?
I think people are starting to analyze the fight a little more in depth, and looking at more than just the weight and size. You know, at first glance, that's the first thing everybody sees. You know, the size advantage. You know, the weight. You know, me moving up from 135 and remembering that I started at 126. So that's almost insane for anybody to think. You know, it's possible for me to overcome, you know, this next challenge. But once they start seeing, you know, that there's a lot more to boxing. You know, when you see the boxing IQ, the ring generalship, you know, the footwork, the speed, the defense, all the other things that at first no one sees, they start to realize, you know what, this is a much better fight than we thought. And Mikey does have more chances than we thought, and Mikey can pull it off. And eventually, it's changing the idea and the opinions of a lot of media. But you know, I don't really worry about people's opinions. I don't let that affect my performance at all. It's not even fuel for me. Everybody has their opinion. That's it. I know what I got to do. I know what I'm capable of doing. I did all the work. I did all the sparring, all the training necessary to be in the best shape and to win my fight.
Will you talk to us about some of those skill sets that you mentioned, that you just mentioned, that you plan on taking advantage of come the 16th?
Look, I believe I'm a better fighter overall. You know, and when it comes to footwork, I think I have better footwork. When it comes to speed, I think I have better speed. When it comes to defense, I have better defense. You know, timing, I have better timing. You know, all these other things are what will help me win my fight. You know, and the only thing that he has, you know, going for him that's apparent is the size. You know, the height, reach, weight, which is a big challenge. But I have everything to overcome that. You know, you overcome all that with everything else that I just mentioned, and that's what I'm betting on. Now, I've always said I'm better than him, not by a lot, but just enough to beat him, because he also reminds me of myself a lot in a lot of ways. The way he fights, the way he is, you know, he does everything well. Good footwork, good speed. You know, he controls the fight at his distance that he likes to have. A lot of the ways resemble the way I fight, but I still feel that I'm better in every one of those ways. You know, and that's what I'm betting on.
When you told him that in the face-off thing, did you see any reaction from him? Did he, I don't know, was?
No, we had the face-off, you know, discussion, conversation, and you know, we both showed a lot of respect to each other. I told him he does remind me of myself a lot, but I'm better in every way. But then he answered that, you know, he has the confidence that he has a lot more than just size going for him. He can also box. He can also use his footwork if he has. He can also, you know, move around and box. And I mean, so he also understands that there's a lot more to boxing, to winning, than just strength and size. And if he believes he has, you know, more than that, he's probably gonna try to do that and show me that he's much more than just a strong guy walking forward. I mean, I showed him respect. He showed me respect. He has confidence in his boxing. I have confidence in my boxing. You know, that's just, like I keep telling people, that's just recipe for a great fight.
Mikey, when they first announced it, did you envision by at this point you'll be the favorite or 50-50? Or did you think they'll still doubt you?
I didn't pay attention to that. I know, like I said, at first, you know, glance, everybody would, you know, pick him. But, you know, things are starting to change a little more and more, and people are giving me more chances now than before. But I still don't feel that I would ever be the favorite because he is a great champion at his natural weight. You know, that's something, you know, to really consider, you know, when you're picking sides, and everybody seems to, you know, go in his direction, and that's totally fine. I have no problem with that.
You're 39-0. You're 4th-division champion. Is there anything that people don't give you credit for? Do you do in the ring? Do you think like you do very well?
You know, I win my fights, you know, and I make it easy for myself. You know, I want to make it as easy as possible. You know, I need to make the fight the easiest for me, but that doesn't mean that I don't get enough credit. I think this fight would give me more credit because I'm challenging something so much bigger than ever, you know, where no one is really originally giving me a chance, and, you know, a victory over Spence would definitely give me that recognition.
During that face-off, and, you know, there's been weigh-ins too where once it's near fight time, you seem to change a little. You lower your brow at him. You told Spence to his face, "I'm gonna beat you in a couple." Where does that come from? That fire? Who's that Mikey Garcia?
The mindset changes. You know, when you first, you know, meet someone, you know, 6 months before the fight, you know, you're in a different mindset. You know, now we were only, at that face-off, we were only a few weeks away. You know, less than a month away, and so the mindset changes, the mentality. You know, your approach is different. You're deep in training. You know, you're sparring. You know what's coming in a few weeks, so that attitude changes. You know, and that's just the way it is. You know, same thing with the weigh-in. Now we're only a couple hours away. You know, it's just the way it is. But I'm always, you know, at least I'm always aware of everything as far as being respectful towards him, because I know what I'm also facing. I know I ain't facing no bum. You know, he's the undefeated world champion. You know, one of the best pound for pound fighters. You know, that's something to really admire also. And although I have all the confidence, he has all the confidence. You know, we're both showing respect towards one another.
You know what Richard told me before? That your next opponent, you know who he said?
Who you say?
Wilder.
I told you I'm not going to be part of it.
We don't know who the next opponent might be.
Well, how were the ab workouts, being that you hadn't really done much of that before?
Yeah, everybody asks about that. It's true. I hardly ever do any core training or any ab work. I have in the past for other fights, but I'm talking about, you know, 5-6 years ago maybe. It's been a long time. So for this fight, we did have to, you know, introduce it again and you know, adjust, you know, the training a little bit. We are, like I said, we're moving up in weight. Everybody gets surprised that I'm gonna do abs or that I'm working differently. Well, shit, if I'm up in weight, I better do something.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, it's part of the training, you know, to move up in weight. You know, you have to change training a little bit. That's why we did. We went to Snack, Victor Conte, and we worked well, and we kept some of that same routine here in the gym. I don't expect to be physically bigger. I don't expect to be this monster all of a sudden, you know. No.
You're not ripped? You don't have the summer bod going right
I'm
now?
just gonna be a little bit bigger so that I can be at a welterweight, so I can also take those punches, you know, and I can get that size required to fight at welterweight.